the last video stopped and then I kind of kept going without realizing that it had stopped. So just to finish off that last equation, so we were at this point where we have 2 cosine of x plus 1 equals 0 or cosine of x plus 1 equals 0. So that means that cosine of x equals -1/2 or cosine of x equals -1. In order for a cosine to be negative, it has to exist in the second or third quadrant. So that gives you 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3. And cosine equals -1 at pi. So then those are your 3 answers. Now the last example, cosine squared of x plus sine of x equals 2. Again, we run into the situation where you've got 2 different trig functions. So you have to change one of them. Not much we can do with sine of x, but cosine squared of x we know is the same thing as 1 minus sine squared of x. Now, we always like the sine squared to be, the squared term to be positive. We like quadratics that equal to 0. So taking care of that, our equation becomes 0 equals 1 sine squared of x minus sine of x plus 1. Now, our favorite way to solve a quadratic equation is to factor, but this one is not factorable, which means we have to use the quadratic formula. So, using your quadratic formula, your a value would be 1, your b value would be -1, and your c value would be +1. Setting it up would look like this. So we have 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 4 times 1 times 1 all over 2 times 1. So that becomes 1 plus or minus the square root of -3 over 2. You got a negative underneath your square root. That means you're going to have an imaginary number. But you cannot have an imaginary number when you're dealing with a trig equation. So, if that's not possible, that means for this solution, for this equation, there is no solution. Your assignment is going to be a worksheet. Good luck.